Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wind Down Meditation on Wednesday evening. I'm Cheryl Moore, and I am a social worker at the Georgia Bay Cancer Support Center. We are currently involved in a 4-week series of exploring meditation across the 4 dimensions of your being: body, mind, heart, and soul. And this is week 3. In the first week, we took a look at body. Last week, we looked at heart. Tonight, we're going to look at mind, and next week, soul. And by doing that, we give ourselves a focus for our mindful meditation practice. And we hopefully add on to our skills because it is fundamentally a practice. In the first week, if you go back and take a look at the body-based meditation, I did go through a little bit of basics around breathing and posture and just how to relax the body so that we can move on to other elements in our practice. Last week, we focused on the heart and just kind of trying to be present with our emotions, sit in awareness of that, surrender to that, and then work with the emotion of gratitude. Tonight we're working with the mind, and that is fundamentally what meditation is all about: managing that mind, bringing that mind back to the present moment, dealing with the monkey mind, the chatter in our brain. Meditation is about stilling the mind, not emptying the mind. I always like to preface that, remind people of that. I think we have this idea that somehow all the thoughts are magically going to go away and it's going to be simple and blissful and joyful, and that is just not the case. It's a practice of stilling the mind and being fully and completely present in the moment. So tonight, when we come into practicing our meditation with a focus on mental well-being, the mind, in holistic health, we want to think about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So mind is our mental well-being. I want you to remember a couple of key concepts in Buddhist practice around meditation. One is to be detached from what's happening. Just experience it, witness it, let go of the outcome. And in fact, instead, if we can, nurture curiosity. So whenever we're off track, we can sit back in a detached place and say, isn't that interesting? So the other thing I would say to you is be grateful for your mind, because I know when we're off course with our meditation, we think we can't concentrate or focus. We're scattered in our thoughts. We get very frustrated. We think we're not doing it right. And in fact, as a person with a lot of experience in the world of brain injury, where I've seen the ramifications of what happens when our mind doesn't do all we want it to do, I would encourage you to be thankful for your mind. When it is busy, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It might be helping you to reflect on your day because there's something that you were meant to observe about your day today. It might be reminding you of things that are on the calendar for tomorrow, in which case it's working hard to keep you on track, right? So the mind, not always, not when we're anxious and worried and thoughts are repetitive, but the mind is busy often for a reason. And so instead of getting frustrated, if we can acknowledge the thought because maybe it's an important thought and put it in its proper place, then maybe, just maybe, with a practice of gratitude, the mind will learn to let go because it says, oh, she or he is paying attention. Right? They listened to me, they caught it, they're okay, I can be quiet now. So practicing to be grateful. All right, that's really helpful, because if we have a working mind doing all the things we want it to do, then we're blessed, we're fortunate. So what do we do in a meditation practice? When it comes to mind, this is where imagery can be really important, because what we want to learn to do is manage the thoughts. So when thoughts come in that don't serve us, you don't want to perseverate on them or get emotional about them. Oh, I'm thinking about that appointment tomorrow, I can't let it go. And then we're just in frustration, right? We want to notice it, witness it, be curious about it, and then figure out how we can park it somewhere. So we need imagery, and this is where we can be creative and find our own visualizations that can be really, really helpful. So we might want to watch those thoughts float away on a cloud or a balloon or a kite or a plane or whatever. Give it to a bird to carry it off somewhere. We might want to file it in the trash or put it in a shredder if it doesn't serve us. Or if it's an important thought that we need to come back to, maybe we need to help our mind know we've paid attention by filing it. So maybe we imagine it's like there's a library in our mind and we can take those thoughts like books and put them on a shelf and store them for later. So we've kind of said to our mind, okay, thank you. That's important. I'll come back to you. So it's important that we do something with those thoughts, and we have to practice it. We have to experiment with it to see which imagery is going to work for us. And the imagery might be different depending on the thought. So we also have to learn to filter quickly from a curious place and discern the thought. Is this an important thought? Do I need to shelve it somewhere so I can come back? Is it a negative thought that I don't want? How do I trash it? Is this a positive thought that I could just be curious about and it popped into my mind? Great. Can I let it float by? So that's our idea, right? And always then, in controlling that mind, we then let that go and we come back to the breath, back to the body, back to the focus, back to the mantra, back to whatever we're focusing on. So tonight, I'm going to take you through some guidance with some of this imagery so that you can play, so that you can practice, so that you can see which of these possible imaginary vehicles of moving thought can be most useful to you. Always coming back to breath, always coming back to breath. Okay, so I am going to lead you into some guided practice now. We always start with ringing the bells, taking a minute on our own in silence to get centered, and then I will begin. I will guide you through the breath, and then just follow my voice. And nearer the end, when we've done a bit of playing, a bit of experimenting, a bit of imagining what to do with those monkey mind chattery thoughts, I'm going to leave you also in some silence for several minutes so that you can practice on your own without guidance. At that point, I'll turn the music up and just leave you to have that opportunity to be in your own practice. That's my plan for this evening as we have wind down meditation for the mind. So let's begin. We want to be in a straight chair or whatever we're in. We want our back to be supported. We want our legs or our feet to be firmly grounded and planted and connected to the earth. And we want our hands to rest on our lap in an open and upright position, palms to the sky, giving the feeling, the message, the symbol that we are open and receptive to receiving this experience. Okay? So, check in with your body, figure out your posture and alignment, make sure that you're comfortable as you come into this centered practice. I invite you to close your eyes. If you are sitting in a chair, to allow your head to fall slightly forward, to take any pressure that you need to off your shoulders. Okay? So let's just start with 3 nice, big, deep, clearing breaths just to bring ourselves into the moment. Here we go. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. I'll start with ringing the bell 3 times and then leave you for a minute in silence. As you listen to the bells, I encourage you to follow the sound, follow the vibration, see where it lands in your body. See if it takes you to some place that could be your center or core for this moment. Maybe it's your feet, maybe it's your belly, maybe it's your back, maybe it's your head. Just notice where the sound lands and then let that be the place in your body that you can come back to. Okay, coming to the sound of my voice, I'm going to invite you to follow your breath and to use your breath as your focus, as your reference, to come back to the breath whenever the mind wanders. And I would encourage you to do this by following the breath at the tip of your nose. If we follow the breath at the tip of the nose, we can usually notice the temperature change between the coolness and the warmth as we breathe in and out. So I invite you to explore how the breath feels at the tip of your nose, or alternatively, if you prefer, you can follow the breath in the belly as you notice the breath and the belly rising and falling. The tip of the nose is the beginning of deep, purposeful, intentional, elongated breath. The belly is the ending of our in-breath. So we can follow at the tip of the nose or we can follow at the belly. Find your breath. And as you continue to breathe, come fully into this moment. Notice how your body feels in the chair. Notice where your thoughts are in your mind. Even with your eyes closed, notice the space around you where you're seated, how everything feels to create the atmosphere that you're in. Notice what you hear, what you smell, maybe what you taste in your mouth. Notice how you're feeling, maybe even label the feeling. Right now, I feel. Notice everything about this here and now moment that keeps you present, that you can come back to. Our goal in mindful meditation practice is to be present as much as possible. And whenever the mind wanders, to come back to the breath, back to the moment. So tonight we're going to practice training our mind a little bit. Continuing to breathe in and out. Softly, deeply, intentionally, purposefully. Noticing the breath. And in this here and now moment, I invite you to intentionally reflect on the past as far as your day. Let your mind go through your day from the time you got up until now. What you've been doing, what you've been engaged in, how you've been feeling. Just let your mind reflect and review. When we do this, we are intentionally putting our mind into the past. We're just noticing that we can control the mind in this way by reflecting on our day. No attachment. We are curious. We are observing how we feel about our day, what went well, what didn't go well. All of it is, isn't that interesting? Reflecting and reviewing on the past from this morning until this moment. Good. Now come back to the breath, back to the tip of the nose or the belly, back to the moment, back to the here and now, to the things you can feel and sense around you. Beautiful. Now we're going to intentionally, purposefully allow ourselves to go forward in our mind, to go into the future by allowing our mind to consider what's on our schedule when this moment of meditation is over. What else awaits us for our evening? What time we're planning on going to bed? What things we need to do before we get there? And maybe if you're listening to this fairly late in the evening, you might even allow yourself to think about what's on the calendar tomorrow. No further than that, just the immediate future. Anticipating, planning, wondering, reminding the mind of the things that lie ahead. Call those things into your mind now. Good, and just let that go. Come back to the present moment, back to the breath, the tip of the nose or the belly. Notice when you are breathing in and when you are breathing out. And just take a moment to say, thank you, mind, thank you. Thank you for reflecting and reviewing my day. Thank you for reminding me of what lies ahead. You're intentionally controlling the tense you are visiting, past tense, present tense, future tense. And you are giving thanks for your mind for being able to engage in that activity. In this centered, calm, present place. Thank you, mind. And let it go. Let go of the past. Let go of the future. Let go of review and reflection. Let go of reminding. Come back to the breath, to the tip of the nose or the belly. Notice when you are breathing in and when you are breathing out. And now we're going to practice being present by focusing on this breath, by focusing on this here and now moment, by focusing on how our body feels in the chair. And I'm going to ring the bells in 1 minute intervals. Every time I do, I'm going to prompt you to use a different image, a different piece of creative visualization on what to do with thoughts. Any thoughts that come into your mind that take you off this mindful practice, any thoughts that are not about breathing in and out, being present in your body, being present in the chair, being present in the moment. We're just going to notice the thoughts, be curious about the thoughts, and play with the different ways that we can move those thoughts, just allowing them to pass through. So come back to your breath, back to the body. Notice when you are breathing in. Notice when you are breathing out. For the next minute, every thought you have that distracts you, that is not the breath, that is not the present, I want you to notice it and then simply allow it to float away in your mind's eye on a cloud. Here we go. Then I want you to take just a moment to notice in your mind, to allow yourself to discern that experience. What was it like as your thoughts were acknowledged and then allowed to float on by on a cloud? Did you like that imagery, not like that imagery? Did it allow you to come back to the breath and the body? How many thoughts did you have? Were you distracted? Maybe you weren't. Maybe that minute was really easy. Just notice, discern, take stock. All of this is practice and learning. For the next minute, after I ring the bells, eyes closed, attention inward, focusing on the breath. Any thought that isn't about breathing in and out, any thought that isn't about how you're feeling in your body in the chair, I want you to notice it. And then I want you to imagine crumpling it up and filing it in the garbage, file 13, tossing it away, no matter what the thought is. See how it feels if you say, no, thank you, thought, and you toss it away. We're just practicing. Here we go. Following my voice again, take another moment to just reflect on how that felt for you, what it was like, what that image was like, to put all the thoughts aside into the garbage, to toss them away. Just noticing, discerning if that worked, if it was useful. If not, that's okay too. We're curious and we're practicing. For the next minute after I ring the bells, I want you to allow yourself to take every thought that is not about the breath, that is not about the body, that is not about this moment, that is not about you sitting in the chair. And I want you to imagine that you put it like a book on a shelf in a library, telling your mind, thank you, and I'll come back to you. Okay, don't get attached to any of the thoughts, just put them on the shelf. I'm going to try that for a minute. Just going to see how it feels, how this imagery works. Here we go. And then again, take just a moment to reflect and review on the imagery of putting our thoughts on a shelf. And notice what you notice about that and how that worked for you. Now what we're going to do for the next 2 minutes, it'll take a little longer because it's going to take a little more focus and effort. You're going to sit focusing on the breath, on your body, on the moment in the chair. And you're going to filter each thought and figure out what to do with it. Our goal is to get faster and faster at this. You've noticed some thoughts go by on clouds. You've noticed some thoughts go into the garbage. You've noticed some thoughts go on a shelf. So I want you to use now for the next 2 minutes all 3 images, quickly deciding whether a thought serves you or not and what you want to do with it. If it's garbage, you toss it. If it's important, if it's a reminder, if you need to come back to it, you shelve it. And if it's just an interesting, fun, positive, interrupting thought, even though it would maybe be nice to hang on to it, you're going to let it float away. And we've got to allow the mind to do that fairly quickly, all the time being thankful. Thank you, mind, for working for me. Thank you, mind, for being curious about this process. Thank you, mind, for keeping me centered. Okay, so each thought that comes in, your goal is to stay focused on the breath. And when you're distracted, does that thought go in the cloud? Does it go on the shelf? Does it go in the garbage? Using all 3 pieces of imagery at the same time as you need to. And just notice the mind. You might notice all of them go on a cloud, all of them go on a shelf, or all of them go in the garbage. Depends on this moment. It depends where your thoughts are. And all of it is okay. All of it is perfect in this moment. So coming back to the breath, coming back to the tip of the nose, coming back to the belly. Notice when you are breathing in. Notice when you are breathing out. Staying with this as much as possible. When you are breathing in. When you are breathing out. Every thought for the next 2 minutes that is not about the breath, the body, or the moment. Allow your mind to quickly discern and decipher what it needs to do with that thought. Cloud it, shelf it, toss it. I'm going to practice for 2 minutes. Come back to the breath. In and out. Keeping eyes closed and attention inward, notice that 2 minutes have just gone by. And just allow yourself to notice, did that seem long? Did that seem quick? How many thoughts did I have? Where did they go? Which imagery helped me in this moment? Which imagery might I play again with in the future as I try to manage the thoughts in my mind? And maybe some other imagery came up for you that you'd like to try that might work for you on what you want to do with those thoughts that don't serve you as they keep you from being in your centered present place. And so with eyes closed and attention inward, we're going to move into 5 minutes of being quiet, focusing on the breath, focusing on the body, focusing on the chair, focusing on the moment. Just listening to the music. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes to figure out how to manage those thoughts. You can keep using the same imagery, the cloud, the shelf, and the garbage. Or maybe you have something new or different that you'd like to try that came to you, or something you've always wondered about to try it on and see if it works for you. Okay? We always want to find a way that seems most effective that we can come back to and back to and back to. That makes our practice easier every time. So coming to the breath for the next 5 minutes, I'll ring the bells and I'll turn the music up, and I'll leave you here until you hear the bells again. To be present in curiosity, detached from your thoughts, noticing them, coming back to the breath, back to the body, back to the present, as we practice our wind down meditation for our mental well-being, for managing our mind. Let's begin. If you've gotten distracted, find your way back to the breath. Notice when you are breathing in and when you are breathing out. And then find your way back to the body. You may want to wiggle the fingers and toes or circle the ankles and wrists. You may want to reach your arms up overhead and give yourself a nice big stretch and a yawn. And if your eyes are still closed, take another delicious moment to stay inward while you notice your environment. Just energetically sense the space around you, above you, below you, in front and back of you, and on both sides of you. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. This has been your opportunity to practice mindfulness, to practice meditation, to practice breathing, stilling, focusing, managing the mind for mental health and well-being. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you picked up some nuggets. I hope you'll keep practicing, even like we did there at the end for just 5 minutes a day here and there. Eventually, it really helps us learn how to control that mind, how to manage those thoughts so that when it is worries and concerns and anxiety that gets the best of us, we've learned how to manage it by coming back to breath, body, present moment. Okay? Thank you, everyone. Keep your practice going. I hope to see you again next week. We'll have a nice little guided meditation for the soul. Good night.